And good evening, everybody. I hope everyone is well. I am glad to be here, and I'm glad you're here. I'm going to just close this other window off, and so we're not distracted. Man, I tell you, all right, so full transparency, I was pounding an ice cream cone right before I got on, and everything's like winding down. I'm like, oh, man, I cannot start my live stream with an ice cream cone in my mouth. That would just be bad. So I was jamming away trying to get that done, burning my face off, all for you guys. Anyway, so how's everyone doing? Who's here tonight? Come on, let me know you're here. Let me know who is here, and let me know where you're from if I don't know you already. And if this is your first time, welcome. If it's like your 15th or 20th time, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. So we are going to talk about Gala Games, kind of like a week in review, sort of, from a standpoint of playlists. Hey, Brian, what's happening, man? Yeah, man, brain freeze. Man, you know, I don't know why I told you guys that, but hey, I like to be real here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you got. You got me. Seriously, I literally finished that damn ice cream cone about like 25 seconds before we went live. So anyway, we're here, and we're going to talk about Gala. We're going to talk about the playtest. So tonight is about playtests for Gala and things going on within the Gala ecosystem in regards to games. So, and Brian, if you have any questions, feel free to jam them in there. But the two games we're talking about here, and one I've been spending a lot more time on, is one, Eternal Paradox. Two is Poker Go Play. I've really been, and I've talked about Eternal Paradox, not to nauseam, but, you know, only so much you could talk about. And I've been spending a lot of time with Poker Go Play. Now, I know there is Dragon Strike that's going on, and I honestly, I really haven't spent a whole lot of time with that. Townstar, huh? How's Townstar? I haven't played Townstar, honestly, in quite a while. I just, you know, maybe I'll go back to it. For me anyway, I think it's a good game. I think it's a lot of fun, and that's the beauty with Gala. They have different games for different people and what different people like. So, for me, I like more of like the shoot 'em up kind of stuff. Like I really like Walking Dead Empires. I like that a lot. Now, some games I'm not able to play right now because I have my wife's PC I have to set up. So I could take some games and play on that, but there's a few games I'm not able to do right now. Yeah, again, and I've said this before, you know, Townstar reminds me of a game called Civilization, where, hey, what's going on, Crypto J? Nice to see you, man. You must have snuck in there, man. You must be in incognito mode because I don't see you here, bruh. But anyway, I don't care. I'm glad you're here anyway, but Townstar reminds me of a kind of a game my brother, and I've said this before, my brother used to play this one game called Civilization. And it seemed a little too slow, and, you know, I was more of like Diablo. Like, that back in the day, we're talking 20s, freaking some odd years ago, right? Diablo was really an awesome game. That my brother, I was in Hawaii, he was in Vermont, and we would get in, we'd play that game, and that was some good times. You know, that was a fun time, even though I was 6 hours ahead. He was 6 hours ahead, and I was 6 hours behind, but still, it didn't matter. It was a heck of a lot of fun. And so that's kind of my jam, you know. So in respect to, like, some of the games that are out now, again, I haven't tried all of them. Granted, you know, there's some I'm not able to right now, but when I did play Townstar, it was okay. It was a good game, but just wasn't necessarily my my thing at that time, but I definitely want to go back and try it out again and see. Tower defense. Let me look and see if there's a tower defense game. I mean, if there is, I'll have to look and see. Let me look. I'm doing a quick. I have to look because they have so many games out. I really have to. Let's see. Let's take a look and see what games they have. Dragon Strike. I actually have that. Poker Go Play, and I did a video about that Poker Go Play a couple of days ago. So, Eternal Paradox, their playtest ended abruptly. Spider Tanks seems to be the game that everyone's really, bullish on right now. I played a couple times in a previous playtest, and it was all right. It was okay. I wasn't jumping up and down, but it was okay. Townstar, of course, Superior. There's Grit. I didn't play Grit. So if anyone's played Grit, let me know what you thought of that. Meow Match, of course, that we know that's a match game. It's pretty simple. Champions Arena, that's another mobile game. Legends Reborn, Mirandus. Let's see here, what else? Battlestar Galactica. Now that says it's going to be on iOS, so that's going to be another mobile game. We'll be curious to see how that game is. Loaded Lions? Is that a Gala game? I don't know if that's a Gala game. Then there's The Walking Dead. See, it's interesting because a lot of these games now, what I'm seeing, like The Walking Dead was at one point strictly, like, I believe anyway, like PC. Or maybe that was another one. But anyway, I think you had to do like Epic Games and download all of that to play. Last Expedition, which is PC. Let's see, Echoes of Empire. So there's Fortitude. So those are the games that I'm kind of like scrolling through right now. And but Poker Go Play is one that I've been messing with a lot. And as I said, I did a video about it. Yeah, an impromptu. I wasn't planning on it. And then I just said, the heck with it. I'm just going to do an impromptu test or a walkthrough with Poker Go Play. And, no, it was Friday. I'm sorry. Excuse me. It was Friday. And so I just jumped on and took everyone through which I know is what Mike is going to want me to do at some point, take everyone through the game and how it works to the knowledge that I had. So, which is it's just like regular poker. I don't need to relive it unless you guys have specific questions. But they have daily challenges, like you get a certain amount of XP points or something. If you get within a day, you get 3 hands. You win 3 hands with 2 of a kind, or you win 5 hands with a straight or whatever that is. And you can go look on their website and take a look and see. But so there's that. It's pretty simple. And I don't know, it's kind of fun. But again, after a while, for me, just if there's no real, there was one mobile game, poker. It was called Poker Night 2. I actually played that game. I love that freaking poker game because it was interactive and it would bring in characters from like Evil Dead or just like other games like from Blizzard or whatever else, and they would put them in and they were interactive and they would talk with you. They'd say you sucked or maybe you should just go go home, you're going to lose, or whatever. And they would bring you into that game where they don't really have that with this. And that would be something that I wish is they had a little bit more interactive capability. I don't know if they plan on doing that, but to just playing poker, especially if you're not really winning anything, for me only goes so far. It doesn't captivate me enough to keep me invested, because it's like, all right, well, I got more important things to do. For me, I got to have a goal. There has to be something a goal that I can shoot for, or I can win, or, something. Whereas when I'm finding with Poker Go Play, that's a fun game, and I'm sure they're going to be putting more incentives in there, but, it'd be nice to have more interactivity. Now, again, this is a play test. This is a beta play test, so, and it's been going on for about a week. I think this has been going on for about a week right now, their play test. So, I don't know how long it's going to continue, but, I was on it earlier today, and I really kind of slowed down, took my time, and, did well once I focused. And then once I got bored, I was just like, I'm going to just go all in on a hand, and if I lose, whatever. So that's my only thing. Like, I think it's cool, but I think when they come out and they give more incentives for players and, that sort of thing, I think that'll be a really popular. I think that'll be a good, easy, fun game. And if they do different things with it, we'll just have to see. But that's my experience with Poker Go Play. I'll probably jump on it maybe a little bit later, and see if you win anything, because I think you can win NFTs or something along those lines, because I'm not going to buy any. You guys know, when you come onto this channel, I'm not a big fan of NFTs. I'm not a fan. Wait a minute. Let me back up. I'm not a fan of the price for some NFTs, for just in general, because I think a lot of NFTs are way overpriced, underutilized, and they don't interest me too much. So, if everyone has NFTs, that's fantastic. Or, as I said, like I've got 4 or 5 on Gala, but I haven't paid for them. They were just, freebies, and that's great, and I'm grateful, and I appreciate that. But I'm not gonna. I know of some people that have spent thousands of dollars on an NFT, and now is worth like pennies on the dollar. Spent $7,000 on an NFT, and now it's worth $30. That's friggin' crazy. That is crazy. That money, $7K, man, that would be going into like projects. Hey, Artisan, good to see you again. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. And guys, don't be afraid to pop in questions in here as well. We're basically just talking about playtests for Gala Games. And again, I think there's other stuff going on. Well, let's ask the SEC. We'll see what's happening with them, but I don't know. Gala's just being Gala. They're just doing their thing. They just gave out a Bitcoin and for Gala Music. I guess I'm more of a Gala Games guy than I am the music or the film. There's nothing wrong with the other two. It's just the games part of it's more my speed. It just depends on what you feel. That could change. With Gala Film, I think I'd be more. I rank this: Gala Games, Gala Film, Gala Music. If I were to win a Bitcoin, Gala Music, Gala Games, Gala Film. Right. So if and when that happens, that's the order of importance that I put. So you probably will not see a whole lot of Gala Music videos from me. Now that may change if some other huge artist signs with Gala Music. Because I want to report the news and I want to do it in an unbiased way. But I'm not gonna, I don't want to just come on and unless there's some monumental event that really needs to be talked about. Probably going to be staying more focused in the realm of the Gala of the games. And so I right now still have And I'm not going to delete my Eternal Paradox because I'm going to keep all that stuff there. We'll see what happens. So I look at it this way. There's games that when I'm playing, I'm like, I'm never playing that a game. That really sucks. I'm not interested in it whatsoever. There's games that I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. All right? Like there's certain games that I could go back now. And all right, I'm dating myself. All right, guys, I'm old as Methuselah right now. I'm really old. I remember there was this game on, was it Xbox or something like that, or PlayStation 2 or something way back. It was Indiana Jones, Emperor's something or other. And that game I played into the ground. I actually bought an Xbox One so I could play it. And this was maybe 7 years ago. That was a game I really enjoyed, and the sense of adventure and fun. And I think that's what Web3 games need to be. They need to have that sense of you're being transported somewhere, right? You're being transported from your existence where you are now to like this cool fantasy land that's fun and excitement. Now, I grew up on Indiana Jones. That movie came out when I was like, 10, 11 years old. And I've just always been a big fan. By the way, if you've seen the new Indiana Jones movie, I've heard really good reviews from it. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Don't do any spoilers, but, let me know. But, so that was a game that I really enjoyed. So I think, and then you had the Call of Duties and the Modern Warfares and all of those kind of games, those AAA Web 2, like they're kick-ass games. They really, really are. Their focus is on creating a stunning visuals. They had great audio. The gameplay was, whatever it was. I think for games to even compete with the PlayStations and the Xboxes of the world, their focus has to be, and this is what Gala continually puts forth, it's about the game. The game first. And whatever the economy is, whatever it is. So I think that, for in general anyway, I think Gala is really onto something. And I think they've got games that are really even going to be more, as the months and years go on, they are positioned to have some excellent games. Because really, they only need a couple to hit. You get one or two games that have become like super popular, that millions of people are playing, we're off to the races, gang. Then everything goes up. So that's kind of my thought on that. Of course, the Uncharted games, those games, God of War. I'm sure there's tons of other ones that really that gets me excited, wants me want to play. Now again, I'm not the type of person to sit down for 5 or 6 hours and play a game. I don't have the time for that. But hour and a half, 2 hours, absolutely. And if it's a fun game, I'm all over it. So just something to kind of put that out there when it comes to gaming. And especially getting people who are new to the space to be able to want to play. I think keeping it fun, keeping it simple, at least this is my opinion. And if you guys have a different one, that's fine too. Post it. Let's talk about it. But that's just my opinion. Keeping it to where it's not so complicated that you can't figure it out, but yet it's immersive enough. And I'm not even necessarily talking about virtual reality or augmented reality or metaverse. I'm not really even talking about that. I'm just talking about plain having a fun time in front of your computer with a keyboard or mouse or joystick or whatever the hell you want to use. Or maybe you've got something you can wear or manipulate that's tactile. I don't know. And make it fun for people. Then I think that's going to be something that really will transcend what's going on right now. Because Web3 gaming is still new. We're in the baby steps of it. But I think it's just going to get better and better as the months and years go on. All right, so Here's how this works. We're switching gears. Gary cannot be fired. Let me back up. The only person that could fire Gary Gensler is the President of the United States. That's it. Unless he's going to be impeached, unless what he's done has been impeachable offenses, I don't see that. He can't be fired. The only person that can do that is the president. That's it. That's it. The only person. All these petitions and all this other stuff mean nothing. So when we say, oh, he's going to get fired, unless the president decides to fire him, he's not getting fired. Unless he's getting impeached by Congress for breaking whatever laws for some reason or whatever he broke. He literally broke the law by doing certain things. Then he could be impeached, but he can't just be fired just for, having anyone fire him. So that's kind of how that works. I wish he could be fired. I wish he'd open up his eyes and say, look, remember when you were teaching, a professor back in 2018, 2019, and you were bullish on crypto? Where's that guy? What happened to him? That's what I'd want to have happen. But for him getting fired, I don't see it. So hey everyone, let me know you're here. There's a few of us here who are kind of talking, but again, this channel is for everybody, not just for me, not just for those who show up all the time. This is for everyone. Make your voice heard. Let us know where you're from. You're always welcome. And tonight we are talking, if you have a subject you want to bring up, we can talk about it, because this is all things crypto. It's not the Gala show. I'm not being paid. I'm not being sponsored. And after some videos I've done, I probably never will, because I'm going to speak my mind and I'm going to say the truth. If I don't like something, I'm going to say it. Doesn't mean I'm not bullish on Gala. I am totally bullish on Gala. I have a good amount of Gala safe. But I'm going to say, hey, if I don't like something, I'm going to say why. Because I think it's important not to once you start believing your own press, you are in deep voodoo. When you think that you are the end and the beginning of the world, and I'm not saying Gala is, but in general, that's a bad thing. So you've got to have more than just yes men around you. You've got to have people. Now, I'm not talking about going out and spreading FUD. I'm not talking about manufacturing false claims or, putting stuff out there purposely to bring down sentiment, to bring down the project. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, hey, NFTs are way too expensive. Most people are not going to want to buy an NFT for $3,000 or $4,000. Most people are not going to buy a node, not because they don't want one, but because they can't afford the damn thing in the first place, because they're astronomically expensive. That's however that is. That's what I'm saying. When people mistake FUD with fact, right? It's like you may, love someone to death, end of the earth and back. But there's times when, and if you ask my wife, she'll tell you that I sometimes kind of can. I think if you're in a relationship long enough, you kind of get on your partner's nerves a little bit. You have your own little idiosyncrasies, things that doesn't mean you don't love them any less. It just means you're making that person aware of certain things that maybe we need to work on. We may not want to hear it. Maybe it's not something that we enjoy hearing because, I, for one, am very sensitive. I'm a very sensitive person. And so I sometimes look at being critiqued as being criticized. And that's an area that I need to work on. So my point being, not to keep it on me, but going back to Gala or any project, we don't want to hear these things, but sometimes we need to be told there's things that we need to hear, not what we want to hear. That's how we grow, right? If you're always around people that are saying the same thing, that's why we can't have any kind of an open dialogue in this country or anywhere in the world now, because everyone is going to stick to their lane. No one can have for instance, I'll tell you an example. So back in my 20s, and we're talking the early 90s, my best friend, we were roommates for 6 or 7 years. We met each other at one of our jobs after high school. He was the best man at my wedding. We could sit down, when we were roommates, we could sit down and have a difference of opinion in any subject. Music, art, politics, right? Which now is a kiss of death, because by God, you can't have a difference of opinion. But we would. And we would communicate. I mean, this wasn't all the time, but if we were in a mood, if a subject came up and one of us would start it off and the other one we could have a difference of opinion. And if the argument was strong enough, based on fact, not opinion, with some kind of proof, could change either one of our minds. That doesn't happen anymore. Because how dare you have a difference of opinion, right? Well, crypto is a security. Well, not really. What do you mean not really? It's a security. It's really not. And then there you go. Because now you can't win. So that's why, I don't know if you were here a while ago, but I told everyone, I said, look, trying to convince someone the value of crypto and blockchain technology, who thinks it's a sham, who thinks it's a scam, who thinks it's whatever, you are not going to change their mind. And the more you try, the more frustrated you're going to get. Because a lot of times these days, we only want to surround ourselves with people who are like ourselves, who have the same belief system, who don't make us stretch. When we are not around people that make us stretch, I think bad things happen. Because now you are so close-minded to any other possibility, and it goes back to what's going on with the SEC with crypto. They have their set focused belief that crypto is whatever it is they believe in, and that's not going to change. We, who are crypto enthusiasts, who are in this space, we have another perception. So remember, there's 3 sides to every story. This way, that way, and the truth, which is somewhere in between. So that's one of the biggest issues I think we have here regarding the SEC, because they only have their specific thought process. So I'm going to circle this back to Web3 gaming, because if you are a Web2 gamer, man,